Mm. And this one? Mm. Mm.
I believe the current FAA guidance is largely unknown and poorly understood. In order to effectively collect UAP data, the independent study team recommended the use of NASA's Aviation Safety Reporting System, or ASRS. The ASRS has collected nearly 2 million reports. ASRS is the perfect tool to collect UAP data, which could then be called by NASA and shared with the public at large. Leveraging SRS could create a treasure trove of UAP data.
This is a big
Potentially
subject right
hundreds of
now.
thousands of reports supporting this
Somebody-
hero's goal of exposing the truth. And I'm grateful to our two co-chairs and other members who have already incorporated this idea into proposed legislation. At this hearing, and as others have demonstrated, the issue is justifiably dominated by national security and defense. However, I would urge the subcommittees to keep in mind the numerous ways that NASA and the FAA, as well as commercial activities in the air, in space, and in the water, can generate a massive amount of invaluable data on anomalous phenomena. I cannot help but be excited by the potential for such an endeavor. Scientific discovery is driven by anomalies.
This one.
It's the existence and
have
study of anomalies that led to the theory of relativity,
people are spying on
quantum
us.
mechanics, and nearly all
The
of
other
humanity's
world.
scientific
You come from
breakthroughs.
other world.
This is why the study of UAPs should be embraced, since whatever is should never be ignored. We must be thorough in collecting, fearless in making conclusions, and open to following the data, no matter how mundane or extraordinary the results may be. I began this testimony by the Joint Subcommittee members for their courage, and I will end by echoing the sentiment. As the saying goes, the truth is out there. We just need to be bold enough and brave enough to takes it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. I will now recognize myself for 5 minutes of questioning. I have a lot of questions and I have a lot of witnesses. So I would just ask yes or no to please just tell me yes or no. If it requires more than that, be very succinct because I would like to go down the line and ask as many questions as possible. So
What are you doing?
Are you?
I'm not eating it. That's yours. You don't have to finish all of it today, Dan.
Shop Amazon early holiday deals now.
Woo!
Energy infrastructure. President Zelensky says Ukraine has shot down 140 air targets, but there was damage to power and water supplies. Biden met one-on-one with Chinese President Xi Jinping Saturday at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in Peru, where China has just opened a massive seaport. President Xi says he's ready to work with the incoming Trump administration. Meanwhile, President Trump attended a UFC fight in Madison Square Garden last night, getting a rousing welcome from the crowd by many of his brand new cabinet picks. House Speaker Mike Johnson was there. We'll speak to him in just a moment. And later, Senator Chris Coons joins us as well. But first, we turn to team coverage with Kevin Port, the final weeks of the Biden administration at the White House, and Bill Maloogian reporting on President-elect Trump in West Palm Beach. That's where we begin. Hello, Bill.
Hey, Shannon, good morning to you. Well, President-elect Trump and his transition team here in Palm Beach have been moving at rapid speed when it comes to filling out his future administration. They made more than a dozen picks this last week alone. Some of them have bipartisan support. Others, though, raising some eyebrows. President-elect Trump taking a victory lap at UFC Fight Night at Madison Square Garden after a busy week building his second administration. His choices this past week include Marco Rubio for Secretary of State, Mike Waltz for National Security Advisor, John Ratcliffe for CIA Director, Doug Burgum for Secretary of the Interior, and Kristi Noem for Homeland Security Secretary.
We have 4 years ahead of us that Donald Trump has tapped as the golden age of America. And he is putting effective, hardworking people into these positions.
But other choices have been more controversial, including Trump's selection for Health and Human Services Secretary.
Today I nominated him for, if you like health and if you like people that live a long time, it's the most important position. RFK Jr.
Disruption across the entire federal government. It'll be great at HHS to do that.
We're talking about the potential decimation of community health centers.
Trump is nominating Matt Gaetz for Attorney General. That led Democrat Senator Martin Heinrich's quote, "People voted for cheaper eggs, not whatever the this is." But Republican senators aren't sold yet either.
He's got a really steep hill to climb to get lots of voting money.
Trump is also tapping Army veteran and former Fox News colleague Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense, and former Democratic presidential candidate, now Republican, Gabbard as Director of National Intelligence.
The question that we have all asked, are these the best individuals available?
And Trump has said he wants recess appointments to potentially be on the table to push his picks through without Senate confirmation if necessary. Now, incoming GOP Senate Majority Leader John Thune tells Fox News that he's looking at every single option, including those controversial recess appointments. They will all be on the table to potentially give Trump the people he wants, whatever way it comes down to it. Shannon, we'll send it back to you.
All right, we will talk quite a bit in the show today. Bill Malugin reporting from West Palm Beach. Thank you. Now to senior national correspondent Kevin Core at the House.
Shannon, a little more than 2 months remaining in office for Mr. Biden, but that doesn't mean the lame duck period will be one for the Biden White House. Plenty on the agenda, as you know, just wrapping up a number of ambitious closing national global conferences from Peru to the Amazon rainforest, Brazil, where Mr. Biden addressed issues from climate change to global governance and the economy. In fact, at APEC in Peru, presumably met for the last time with Chinese President Xi Jinping, whose country just opened a mayor's photo, while shockingly, Mr. Biden was consigned the upper right-hand corner. Now, when he does return here to the White House, Mr. Biden's expected to roll up his sleeves and press ahead domestic agenda, which includes partnering with congressional lawmakers by allocating any remaining authorized resources for major climate initiatives here at home, as well as additional funds for support of the wars in Ukraine and Israel abroad. And speaking of congressional lawmakers, theirs is a full to-do list as well, including expedited efforts to keep the government funded through the holidays, pick up any additional federal disaster aid, as well as pushing the farm bill over the finish line and getting the right money for the National Defense Authorization, and of course to confirm judges. That's especially important for Democrats who are concerned about the looming GOP control at both ends of Pennsylvania Avenue, which of course is all to say the president is eager to get back to work as memories of his legacy and his leadership across the Washington make way for the final verdict on his time in office.
All right, Kevin Court reporting at Kevin. Now to our interview with House Speaker Mike Johnson. Speaker, after a late night and an early morning, welcome back to Sunday.
Great to be with you.
Okay, so let's start here. The House Ethics Committee has been investigating one of President Trump's nominees, former Congressman now, Matt Gaetz, up for general. And they say that their Friday meeting was postponed, canceled, but it doesn't look like that report that may have come from them is going to be released. Democrat Congressman Ivey sits on that ethics committee. Here's what he says about us ever seeing that report.
There's precedent for that. I can't really get into what's going on now, but the fact that someone has left the Congress does not mean that the report can't be released for additional information for that matter.
So you know our intrepid Chad Pergram, congressional correspondent, he's at least 2 times a report has been released after a member left Congress. Why be against the transparency unless the report may clear him? I mean, for somebody who's going to be the top federal law enforcement officer in this country.
Yeah, so I don't know anything about the contents of the report because the way the rules work, of course, the Speaker of the House can't put a thumb on the scale or be involved in an ethics committee report. Well, is that the comments about this being there's a precedent for releasing reports is not exactly accurate. Yeah, there are 2 breaches of the tradition in the past under very extraordinary circumstances. I don't think this meets that criteria.
सगळे खाता तू हे खा मग
Gates is a colleague of mine.
ब्रेड कित्याक खाता तो
For more than 8 years. He's one of the minds
ब्रेडाचो कुडको दी
in
म्हाका इल्लो
Washington or anywhere for that matter. And he knows everything about how the Department of Justice has been weaponized and misused. And he will be a reformer. I think that's why
The Assembly in Washington is so
Pura, pura, pura,
shaken
pura.
up about
Pweh,
this
pweh, pweh.
pick. But with
Okay,
regard to
that's
pork,
good. Thank you.
there's a very important reason for the tradition and the rules that always have almost always followed. We don't issue investigations and ethics reports on people who are not members of Congress. I'm afraid that that would open a Pandora's box because the jurisdiction of the Ethics Committee is limited to those who are serving in the institution. That's its very purpose. And I think this would be a breach of protocol that could be dangerous for us going forward in the future.
So his nomination will obviously have to go through the Senate confirmation, the Senate Judiciary Committee. And that's going to be a long process. Our next guest coming up, Senator Chris Coons, is part of that committee. He says the report should be released, but he's not the only one. It's not just Democrats. Here's Republican Senator John Cornyn.
I think there should not be any limitation on the Senate Judiciary Committee's investigation, including whatever the House Ethics Committee has generated.
So you want to see it?
Absolutely.
He's open to issuing a subpoena to the House Ethics Committee. How do you see this playing out?
Well, look, I hope that the Ethics Committee will stick by our tradition and protocol for the reasons I just articulated. I think this would take us down a path there where I don't know how we return if the House Ethics Committee and its resources, which are significant, substantial, could be used to investigate people who are not in the House. Then where would, people could weaponize the function of government as well. The reason that Matt Gaetz is such an exciting pick to so many people is because he will go in and reform the Department of Justice. It desperately needs it. Look, he and I sat on the Judiciary Committee together for almost 7 years.
These mushrooms are better. They increase focus and energy while keeping you calm and stressed. Plus, they cut.
Landing in the Indian Ocean using its ship upper stage. Also looking for the launch tower space. Another catch of these and Falcon 9 flights. For 2,000. Gonna go is to exercise the full breadth of its nearly 2-hour window as we made another adjustment here to now 5:08 p.m. Eastern. 5:08 p.m. Eastern, that is 22:08 UTC. We've adjusted our countdown clocks. We are once again back at T-minus 1 hour, 3 minutes, 2 seconds.
Caught up in the red light scams that are get caught up in the red light scams that are out there. There's a lot of them because these things are getting really popular.
Do you have another new launch for you? SpaceX now targeting 5:28 p.m. Eastern. 5:28 p.m. Satellite will operate at a 87.75 degrees east to following stage separation. The payload fairings will also be deployed a little bit further downrange. SpaceX Falcon 9 first stage lands on the drone ship. They splash down to the waters of the Atlantic Ocean under the support of parachutes, as you can see here in this image from a SpaceX presentation earlier this year. SpaceX saves about $6 million per recovery effort. So it's part of their business model to retrieve these and bring them onto a recovery vessel. I also want to thank channel member stands right now. SpaceX is still targeting 5:28 p.m. Eastern, 5:28 p.m. Eastern, or 2:28. T-minus 38 minutes, 36 counting. Want to thank A. Peter Aldrian for joining us in channel membership at the pad leader level. Glad to have you with us. minus 35 minutes and just a few seconds. Fueling is now underway. Assuming SpaceX is still targeting that 5
You done? You done? Did it done?
0 time, which
You want me to put yours in the refrigerator?
Yeah, can you, or I'll hang.
In the refrigerator, no problem.
Huh?
I can put it in the refrigerator.
so
Okay.
here's what we're looking for now that
Well, I can't put that in the.
Sink.
on this Falcon 9 rocket.
Dad, did you
Thank
like
you.
it?
Thank you, Didi. Nice. Yeah.
Would you get it again? Huh?
There is some way they got to increase the onion and stuff in it.
Lighter
You could have added your own onion.
Yeah.
horizontal or parallel to the ground, right about at
Got
that
to clean up.
where we
Got to
start
clean up.
form
5 minute nap get, huh?
intensified liquid oxygen.
First, make sure your good clothes are in the
I did.
laundry already.
Yeah, already inside, yes. Yes.
Florida air.
Come on. Why are you wasting my time?
Tanking in this rocket. We'll see a little bit of vapor form as well. So as we're now T minus 30 minutes, 47 seconds counting. Usually about T minus 33 minutes, or certainly by T minus 2 minutes, you start to see the evidence of fueling. Given the relatively good lighting at this point in the
Oh my God.
fairly low distortion, we should have a pretty good idea if fueling is under.
Ay. Ah. Virat.
Yeah, you got after your pills and everything.
This was done, no problem.